Hello and welcome to our webinar on dedicated cloud services presented by the Attivo Group. I'm Len Reo, President of the Attivo Group, and just as a little bit of a background, our organization has experience working with ERP products since 1993, where we were appointed the ECI, the Software Solutions Cloud Hosting Referral Partner for a number of their products, such as Macola. And we actually began providing cloud hosting for our customers in 2007. That was our first cloud deployment. And by 2010, we were actually offering it to a number of our clients, and the practice began to grow. Since then, we've deployed a number of ERP systems in our cloud, and it was in 2019 that ECI determined that we were the best solution for their customers as their cloud hosting referral partner. We don't actually own servers in our basement or garage or office or anything like that. We work with a cloud hosting infrastructure partner, CloudTrek. As you can see, they have quite a footprint across the country. They're growing and expanding. They've been in business since 1996, and we've enjoyed a really great relationship with them for the past 7 years. These are some of the clients of CloudTrek. As you can see, Bank of America trusts their cloud hosting requirements to CloudTrek. That's a pretty substantial level of trust given the size of Bank of America and the kind of requirements as a financial institution that they have. So we feel very confident in working with CloudTrek. And both Attivo and CloudTrek utilize the Switch.com data center. Switch.com is a worldwide organization. We utilize a data center in Las Vegas. This is one of their newest facilities. It just came online about a year and a half ago. I encourage you to go to Switch.com and take the virtual tour to and get ready to be amazed at the technology and the advancements that have been made in data centers. So these are some of the key takeaways. I'd like to explain why this is different from other cloud hosting offerings. Certainly we need to cover security with you. I'll try to explain some of the technical underpinnings of this whole offering the best I can, not being a technical person myself. Give you a thorough rundown of what's included and the service level that you can expect. Certainly the user experience is something that I would be interested in. I'll actually log on and show you how this works, go through the cost, how to get started, and stick through this entire thing because there's a special incentive offer at the very end of this. So we should be done in about 15 or 20 minutes. And I'd like to introduce you to Oscar, your IT manager. He's the only made man in your organization, and these are some of the things that you might hear coming out of his mouth from time to time. And then you have someone named Lydia who takes home the backup tape, hopefully, and hopefully there's something on the backup tape that she's taking home. First of all, I want to apologize to the IT managers out there who really add value to their organization. But I want to just ask you, do you really need to be in the IT business to have an ERP system? These are some of the concerns that we've heard about cloud computing. Number one, will everyone on the cloud see my data? Isn't this really expensive? I'll bet this is pretty slow. We also heard some crazy stuff like, does bad weather affect the cloud? And how far up is the cloud? And I can assure you it's at sea level, and bad weather has no impact whatsoever on the cloud. But let's cover a bunch of these questions that you might have. So what makes this different? Why not just go out and get some servers from Amazon Web Services or Google or Azure or Rackspace or somebody? Well, this is a fully managed service, meaning basically you've got an IT staff in the box. So you don't need an IT staff if all they're going to do is manage your ERP system. We're going to be handling that for you, and deliver you security that you cannot achieve on premise. Based on what the data center offers and the way that this cloud hosting service is deployed, there's no way that you can match this kind of security. Backed up with a 24/7 help desk to ensure your applications are running, handling all of the data backup for you and server backup, updating all of the servers, patching them, making sure that it's refreshed every 3 years, essentially getting you out of the IT business. And there's a quote from one of our customers, Hank Pepper from FH Pumps in Southern California, and he's just thrilled to be out of the IT business and focused on what he does best. These are some of the audit compliances that are the compliance certifications that Switch.com complies to. The most stringent of these are the top 3, the Type 2 SOC 1, 2, and 3. Those are the financial services compliance requirements. They're audited by the AICPA. This is why they can support the business of Bank of America. And not to mention that, HIPAA is not a stringent security requirement, but there's plenty of strength behind the financial compliance requirements that makes this way more secure than any other kind of cloud hosting service that you can find. And you can get these audit reports on Switch.com's website if you would like. In terms of the technical background, we're utilizing the hypervisor embedded infrastructure of hyperconvergence technology. I know that's a mouthful. This is the latest technology in virtualization that is a result of collaboration between Microsoft and Dell and HP and a couple of other partners. This has been actually it's only been deployed for the last year and a half or so, but they work diligently to redefine server virtualization and cloud hosting. So they were able to come up with a very efficient and cost-effective solution, very high fault tolerance because there's constant replication going on. So you have essentially a dual system operating in the cloud for you. It's all deployed over ultra-fast solid-state drives. It's a completely Microsoft solution, so there's no Citrix involved, no layers of technology on top of one another. And it's designed to seamlessly integrate with the Azure Active Directory and fault tolerance, as well as Office 365. When we deploy your ERP system in our cloud hosting environment, we typically provide 4 servers, sometimes more, one for the Active Directory, a terminal server or servers. If we need load balancing, we will provide it for you. If in the case that you have, a lot of users, a web server is typically required, SQL Server, or in the case of, say, SAP Business One, either a Linux server to run the HANA database or a SQL Server if you're utilizing the SQL Server database. We apply as much CPU cores as is necessary to each server and as much RAM as is necessary on each server to ensure optimal performance. We've been pretty experienced now in deploying a number of ERP systems and how many resources are required per server based on the number of users that will be accessing it. So we take full responsibility of adjusting that up or down to make sure that your system is operating within an efficient band and never exceeding 80% of the RAM or spiking like that, to make sure that we deliver optimal performance to you. Storage price has come way down for us. We provide a minimum of 300 gigabytes, and that goes up based on the number of users that you would have on your system. And if you actually needed 3 or 4 or 5 terabytes for file server storage or a very large database, we can provide that as well at a small additional price. And that's all on that solid state ultra-fast drives. We utilize the latest version of Windows Server, like 2019. If your applications are supporting it, most ERP applications are supporting Windows Server 2019 or SQL Server 2019. So we will continue to upgrade your operating system to keep to be as far forward as we can be, as far forward as your ERP developer will allow us to. The backups are maintained in 2 different ways. On a 14-day rotation, we have backups at the local data center at switch.com in Las Vegas. There we have all of the server images, as well as all of your ERP data and any file server share drive data that you might have. And if it is SQL Server, we're also configuring to have hourly transaction logs maintained as well. We take that same data and we move it off to another Azure clouds site, not in Las Vegas. We take those same server images and all of your ERP and share drive data and store that at another location. And this assists us with disaster recovery. And we can also provide that data downloaded to you to a OneDrive account at no additional charge if you would like that. So disaster recovery is one more thing that you can kind of check off your to-do list. Everything within this cloud hosting offering has at least 2. So dual firewalls, for example, there are multiple data center internet service providers. The HCI technology provides constant replication. And as I mentioned, the server images and data are stored in multiple locations. That allows us to provide you with an 8-hour window where we can restore your entire system at another data center, another part of the country. Now, optionally, you can have a secondary data center, a hot server, essentially, where we're doing data replication on a live basis. And that's about a 20 to 60 second delay in terms of being live. So that's an additional cost if you absolutely need that. And as I mentioned, we can download your data to a OneDrive account if you would like that. Office 365 licenses are to be provided by the customer. Since there's, each license is provided to a person, and that allows 5 devices. So if you want Office 365, Outlook, Word, Excel, and so on your cloud desktop, we'll need one of those 5 licenses. And it's very helpful if your ERP system integrates with Office. That can be one of 2 editions of Office 365. The Pro Plus edition is now called Microsoft 365 for Enterprise. That's a recent change. That's $12 per month per user, or the Office 365 E3 edition. You can tell which version you're using. If you go to Microsoft Word, go to File, Account, you'll see the edition or the version displayed there. And if it isn't the right edition, those can typically be upgraded directly through your subscription with Microsoft. The system is being monitored 24/7 for all of the cloud usages of disk, CPU, and RAM, making sure the servers are online, that they came back up after a maintenance window reboot, after a security patch has been installed or something like that. Making sure the firewall is healthy. We're looking at SQL events and doing a lot of intrusion detection. This is kind of critical to make sure that there's no malware or ransomware or denial of service attacks, so that we can head them off at the pass and basically deflect them so that they do not affect your system. Our service level agreement is 24/7 monitoring, as well as help desk. We have live persons answering the phone if there is something that you require. More on that in a second. We utilize all of the servers are covered by antivirus. We utilize ESET as our antivirus program, which has, and the reason we have chosen that is that it has the best track record as it relates to ransomware, which is probably the most intrusive and the largest threat against ERP systems. So it's pretty much been 100% effective against ESET. I haven't heard of any companies using ESET that have been affected. Our service level guarantee is 99.9% uptime. That's outside of scheduled maintenance windows. We typically need 2 to 3 hours per month, and for server patching and reboots, and those are done, early Saturday morning or sometime that is out of your operating window. And all server equipment and firewall and so on is being replaced on a 3-year refresh cycle. You can log a help desk ticket one of 3 ways. We do provide you with a web portal where you can log a ticket, see the status of tickets, look at the history of tickets if something comes up that you've seen before, or you can email us, cloud support at Attivo Consulting, or call our toll-free number, and a person will actually answer the phone. You're probably wondering, can my applications be hosted? We've hosted pretty much every ERP system out there, along with all of the third-party add-ons. We haven't come across any that really can't be hosted. We can handle even custom applications. These might be .NET applications, could be Microsoft Access, could be anything really. If it can be hosted on your on-premise server, it can be hosted on the cloud server. Keep in mind that older versions of programming languages may not be supported on Windows Server 2019, and we can only go so far back with Windows operating system in the hyperconvergence environment. So there may be some limitations on really old custom applications that we may need to discuss. Just a few printing considerations. We utilize a utility called TS Print in conjunction with the Windows Server cloud hosting solution, and this improves print performance. A lot of ERP systems use crystal reports, and one of the things that we found over time is that very long crystal reports usually have to download the entire report, the entire print file, before that report starts printing. And that can be an awkward 20 to 30 second delay. With TS Print in place, as soon as page 1 is downloaded, the printer starts printing. It's the kind of solution that it solves. We do want to utilize printers that have an IP address. So any printer that's connected to your local area network or has an IP address, even if it's a wireless printer, works extremely well. Where we run into problems are with the inexpensive desktop printers that connect to the back of a PC with a USB port. The reason being is the cloud has to pass the print job through a PC and hopefully find that USB port. And it gets there 80 or 90% of the time, but it can be problematic. So even inexpensive laser printers like the one depicted on this slide have an IP address. So in order to essentially achieve the best possible outcome, we encourage your printers to have an IP address. If you have complex printing to like multiple brands of barcode label printers, we have utilized a utility called ThinPrint, which handles all of those diverse kinds of print drivers extremely well, and that solves a lot of those kind of printing problems if we need to. The speed is surprisingly fast, mainly because this hyperconvergence technology was optimized for speed, and it utilizes those ultra-fast solid-state drives. The other reason is that, number one, all of the computing is being done on the cloud servers. So there isn't any data being transferred across the cloud, across the internet to your local PC and then uploaded back. You're just seeing images. And it's serving those images to you at the highest possible upload speeds, given the kind of internet service providers that they have available to them from the data center. I want to take a test drive with you. This is Max Van Stappen, one of my favorite Formula One drivers. I think even he would be surprised at how fast this works. And so this is the user experience when you log in. I'm actually going to be using Chrome. This is a snapshot of the Chrome desktop login, which you'll see in a minute. And you'll authenticate here. This is just you can save this off as a startup page on Chrome or Internet Explorer or Edge or Firefox. We don't care which browser you use. And then once you authenticate, then it'll provide you with a desktop. Now, I'm an administrator, so I have a lot of icons here for the kinds of things that I can access. Depending on your security group within your company, you would be provided with, one or several icons for the applications that you are authorized to access. So I'm going to jump out of PowerPoint for a minute. I'm going to open up Chrome and go to that sign-in sheet and click Sign In so that you can see the slowest part of this, which happens pretty quickly. But now when I load up my desktop, that's very, very quick. But now the first time that you load, say this is Macola 10, a very typical kind of ERP system. It was designed as a client-server application. It has many client-server screens within it, some browser screens, which is kind of common today with ERP systems. They're typically a hybrid of both browser screens and regular client-server kinds of screens. So everything is happening on the cloud. What we're seeing is the screen images of what's taking place on that cloud desktop. So it's going through the various stages of configuring and loading. And then it took me back here for some reason. Let me try that one more time. It kind of gave up for some reason. It only does that when you're trying to do a demonstration. Something might be wrong with this application this morning. I haven't really loaded it. But we'll give it another try here and see if it actually does load up for us, and then you'll see its speed. So the fact that we don't have to move data back and forth over the internet is a significant advantage as it relates to cloud operation. So it's loaded the application for me. I could load up a bunch of the functions. I'm going to bring up what they call the core ERP functions. And that takes me to a menu that's kind of typical of all the different modules. I'm going to run something called the Interactive Balance program within General Ledger. And as you can see, it pops up the screen. This is a client server screen. I'm going to click Start. It's going to run that for me in pretty much lightning fast speed. Because I might be an accountant, I'm going to export this to Excel using Office 365, loaded on the cloud server, and immediately brings it into Excel. So as you can see, it's very fast, and it's, I believe, faster than, say, a local area network and a regular workstation. And speaking of workstations, this could have been run on a Chromebook. It doesn't necessarily have to be a full-on desktop PC. So because you're just using screen images, you have that option to run all of this and these very expensive ERP systems on a $200 Chromebook, if that's your preference. So you're probably wondering what this all costs. Well, there's two components to the cost. There's the one-time deployment costs and then monthly recurring. And from Attivo, we charge a flat fee of $850 to deploy your servers and set up all of your users within Active Directory, and then assist with the installation of the ERP system, whether you're doing that yourself, bringing over the data for testing, or if your reseller or the software developer is helping you with that, we're there to assist with you. So it's a one-time fee from us. And then there's the monthly recurring costs. And that's based on a price per user per month. The price varies based on the number of users. The more users you have, the lower the price per user is. At the 20 user mark, the price per month is $65. So 65 times 20 is $1,300 per month. So that is the monthly recurring costs for cloud hosting. If you only had 3 users, the price would be $100 per user per month. If you had 70 or more than 50, it would be $50 per user per month. And we can provide you with this Excel-based ROI calculator where you can kind of take into consideration all of the components of cost and build your own business case to determine whether or not this makes financial sense and whether or not you can afford to get out of the IT business, or if it's worth it to get out of the IT business for you. So how do you get there as soon as possible? Well, just give us a call. We just need to review your unique requirements, like which applications you want to host, how many users you have, just a few questions like that, and we can send you a quote for the cost per user per month, and you already know that it's $850. There's no big surprise there. If everything meets with your approval, you'll just sign off on the cloud hosting order, and there'll be a service level agreement with all of the T's and C's associated with a relationship like this. And then we'll just schedule a deployment. Typically, we can have servers available for you within a day, and we'll want to get schedule the installation of the applications with you and the VAR, or with your internal resources of the developer. Do a test run so we can make sure everything is printing properly and forms are looking correct and all of that kind of thing. And then we just do a final move of your data to the cloud, and you can cut over to production. In in a normal environment, we can probably get all of that done within about a week. The longest real requirement is just getting you through a user acceptance test to make sure that everything is working to your satisfaction before going live. So here is the special offer. We are providing the first 60 days of monthly recurring fees at no charge. And that's actually a big help, because it pretty much covers the cost of the initial deployment, the one-time charges from Attivo and the effort required to get the application installed and tested and so forth. It is a one-year contract. However, We'll even give you the option to cancel a contract at the end of that 60 days and return to on-premise operation if you're not happy for any reason. So this is pretty much risk-free, and we encourage you to contact us. And here's some contact information. There's our toll-free number and my email address. You can also find out more information about our cloud hosting services on our website, attivoconsulting.com. And we look forward to working with you and hope that we can be of service for many years to come. Thank you all for attending, and I look forward to speaking with you.